And for more, I want to bring in Ken Alexandrow. He founded a company, AGAPE Tactical, that provides security training to churches, schools, and businesses. He's also a former Nashville police officer and a former member of the FBI Violent Crimes Task Force. Ken, thank you for joining me now. This latest shooting in Michigan follows the mass shooting at a church in Minneapolis earlier this year. What do you make of these recent attacks?
I think, like your expert had said earlier, until we know the reason behind it, I have to hesitate to speculate on that. But we do know that it's a spiritual battle, and as he also said, churches, it's that sacred time where people go to worship and they expect to be safe and to be able to have an opportunity to be with their families and worship God and to have something like this is well, it's devastating to that community, and it's just unthinkable.
Now, Ken, we're starting to see churches around the country become these soft targets for this kind of terror. What do you tell church leaders to prioritize when you go through security training?
So the first question I ask churches is, there's two words in the English language that can't go together in the same sentence, and the sentence makes sense, and that's safety and convenience. If we want to build a safer worship experience, someone's going to be inconvenienced. So what I mean by that is access control is key. We want to make sure that we limit how many ways that people can enter that building without being seen. So that's one. Also, when we do our assessments, we want to see, can and not, please understand, notwithstanding the tragedy just had here, but can a vehicle drive through a building? Can we put decorative bollards up in sensitive areas where there's going to be people and entrances? And because glass is our most vulnerable aspect of every building and every organization. So we want to strengthen that, whether it be to put ballistic laminate on there or bollards in front to make sure a vehicle is not able to go 90 miles an hour and drive through the center of the building. Then finally, without changing the warm, loving, and welcoming experience of the church, there are ways to create that sense of safety and security by our methodology is very simple. It's deter, detect, and deny. We want to have people on the outside of the church that can spot a threat, and the threat can spot them and know, hey, you can't get in here without us seeing you. Then, at the skin of the building, at the doors, we want to place trained people to know what does bad look like and how to communicate it with others. And then finally, your denial strategy. Do you have people in the church that can thwart the threat? Do you have an armed response in case bad does happen? And we train them to incredibly high standards to be able to deal with evil if it tries to breach the doorstep of their building.
So Ken, you just said it, deter, detect, deny. I want to talk about that deny part of it. What are some other tips people should know if they find themselves in the dangerous situation here?
Well, first, every conflict you avoid, you win 100% of the time. So we know that locked doors save lives. One of the recommendations we tell people is, listen, 10 minutes after service starts, lock the doors. Now, people can still be at the doors to let latecomers in, but it keeps someone from wandering off the street and just making entry and you not being able to see it. Right. So you can't stop what you can't see. So access control, we have to control access. And that's where that convenience plays in. You don't have to have 13 doors unlocked when really one or two will do. If you, just look at the main entrances and how people normally come in. And then we want to have a volunteer ministry. We call it a safety ministry. And people want to volunteer in church, but they think the only place that I can serve is in a children's ministry or in a capacity in a nursery. And quite frankly, I'd rather stab myself in the eye with a pencil than change a diaper. That is not my gift. However, if people realize, hey, we can train and have a safety ministry and provide medical, welcoming, parking lot, and even a denial strategy, and the church pays for our training, man, that's a win-win. People will volunteer for that. And now you have a self-made denial strategy that can be trained or needs to be trained at a very high standard.
All right, Ken Alexandrow, thank you.